back with my in-studio guest, Senator Aline Yamashita. We're talking about Bill 511-31. It's actually updating the Adult Protective Services mandates. And you were saying about the numbers of abuses that are going on with our seniors here in Guam. Now, what is that attributed to? I mean, you know, one of the things we always boast about is we're such a giving community, such a caring community, we're such a respectful community. We welcome all visitors, everyone, enthusiastically, and I guess we also we abuse our seniors enthusiastically as well. So can you, as one that crafted this bill, what has happened with us as a people?
I think the whole landscaping of our family structure has simply changed, as it has across the nation. But when it hits a community like Guam, it's even more, it's starker, just because we're smaller, right? But once upon a time, you had a mom and dad and a couple of kids and a place to live, and you might even had a dog, right, or a cat, a fishbowl. Today, 50% of our families are dissolved. I'm not saying anything against single parents, but I am saying it's challenging. It's harder, and so that kind of support erodes. Our families are definitely smaller now. I have a sister. My parents both came. My dad was in the middle of 13, and my mom was one of 7. So just even from my immediate family, you see that changing, and so everything has changed. Earlier, you said something about technology. I think the fast pace of the world has certainly impacted the way we relate to each other or the way we don't. There are things through technology, we expect things to be instant and immediate, and they aren't. And I think that we've gotten away from teaching or expecting certain values, respect, openness, honesty for sure, integrity. And so all of that unravels the social fray. You also mentioned children. Our abuse rates are horrible. We have at least 2,000 to 3,000 kids every year being abused. You look at the news stories. I mean, this past year alone, we had a 2-year-old in Barragata who died with less weight than what she was born with less weight on Guam. And she had a mother, a father, and siblings walking around her watching her die. I mean, that's on Guam, right? So the family structure has certainly changed, and we got busy. We're busy doing all kinds of stuff rather than watching and taking care of each other.
One of the things that baffles me is we're saying our families have gotten smaller. We're not communicating as much. But we got this social media. We're communicating all the time, constantly. So we're talking to each other, but we're not talking at each other. And so that's, again, the social media, the access to that. I mean, from anywhere from around the world, best of friends. I mean, everybody's business. But in doing so, in knowing that, why is it that I maybe know the personal life of, say, my cameraman, but I don't know, say, my mom, my sister, my brother, and all that. Again, with the advent, of course, of technology, we communicate right away. We know what's going on in different parts of the world, but at home setting, why is that different?
It just becomes impersonal. I mean, I know that I might be right next to my sister and she's in her room, but I'll text her. I'll say, hey, did you lock the door? Rather than knocking on her door and say, did you lock the door, right? And so that intimacy it changes because the machine is not intimate, right? The intimacy is false, right? And you don't make the time. I mean, it's easier just to text. I mean, during public hearings and during meetings, that's what we're doing. We're listening and we're still texting and stuff. And so the relationship has just become a lot less intimate. I also suggest that we on our island and across the world, but most certainly on our island is very, we can do this, is we need to invest in the first 8 years of life.
Now let me ask you this. With this updating the mandates for adult protective services, okay, so we bring awareness, and I see where languages change. Where once we called somebody disabled, now they're disabilities, person with disabilities, and all that. So, yes, that has changed over the years. But other than that, and identifying maybe what abuses are out there, what is in here, or what can we, based on the judiciary, do with, of course, the lack of funding? We don't even have enough funding for the children's side, let alone now the adult side, to fund, say, a mandate. And what are we saying in the mandate that would be enforceable, rather than trying to be politically correct?
Well, I think the island as a community needs to determine its priorities. And during the public hearing, that came across loudly. I was very pleased. We had quite a few people come forward and speak, and over again they talked about how we need to come together and determine how we're going to make this work. It has to be a priority item. Human capital is a serious item on our island, and from the children to the adults, the cycle has gone now to our seniors, and we need to stop and say this is a priority. We need to come together and say this is where the money is going to be spent. This is how we're going to break the cycles, and it has to start with early childhood, because that's where it starts. It starts at the beginning. And then hopefully that the whole notion of respect and caring will grow again, right? Partnerships. Today we had a resolution presentation from Pajuta. All the nonprofits came together from neighboring islands and on Guam, and they had, I think it was like 21 resolutions about how we can better strengthen the quality of life. We need to get together with them, the government, and we need to know how we can connect, leverage the resources, know where the redundancies are so we don't waste the money, and say this is a priority item. This is the priority item, and then spend the money there.
Well, see, what gets me with this, and the reason why I'm asking this question is because this morning, actually, we spoke on the phone regarding, actually, we touched a little bit on this, but we talked about the teacher certification, and I'm digressing a little bit, but it's all relevant to what we're talking about today, is because when we're so involved in the political correctness of things and how I'm going to label you, I need to watch out how I label you, because you're no longer handicapped, you're disabled, or you're physically challenged and all that. I was with a leader today, okay, and when they heard us talking about the certification program today, this person told me, I'm not going to identify the gender, but they said, hey, that's easy to resolve. Let's put these teachers, these 43 teachers, hey, let's just put them with the special needs kids. And so when you say something like that, I mean, and this is a leader in a community saying something like that, so in public, you have the political correctness. We're going to face a camera and say persons with disabilities, physically challenged, mentally challenged, hearing impaired. Yeah, we're correct to that. But our actions, like I said, we talked about it this morning, and here it is. I was just baffled by what was said. Let's just take care of this. I mean, it was, you know, Department of Education had worked, not just Guam, but USDOE worked, years to integrate its students, because I remember when Chief Brody was a segregated school.
Right.
And so now it's integrated, but you still have mentality. So how do we change that, and how can we enforce that when we ourselves are trying to be politically correct, but our actions and how we treat people stay the same?
And so we need to break the cycles, and you're baffled, I'm incensed. I'm highly offended and insulted that anyone would suggest that my son and the 10% of the other people with disabilities can do well with less qualified teachers. I would suggest that people with disabilities need even teachers who are even more skilled or even smarter. But how do you do that? How do you actually change the behavior? I am really pleased that we have welcomed Frankie La'anen, the Dean at School of Ed now. And I'm very excited at how we are going to mold the teacher preparation programs to ensure that all teachers are prepared to work with all students. And I think that's a way, other than the standards, that whole preparation program is a way that we start breaking these cycles so that we can integrate, and that the teachers can be adequately prepared and also being provided with training so that they can learn further and further how to work with our kids as they grow and as their needs change. How to work with the families as we grow and as we change, and then how to transition into the community, because our kids do grow up. Sometimes people think they die at 5 or die at 8 or never graduate from high school, but the truth of the matter is they grow and they become, and then they become adult protective service agents because people don't know how to work with them because they're older, right? And so it starts with preparation programs. It starts with teaching people how to value everyone and respect, and then how to foster those kinds of communities, right? And nothing less shall be tolerated.
I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and wrap this up. We'll be right back.